what's up, guys? This is Two Awesome Men. We just saw the new movie Greta.
And it's directed by Neil Jordan.
And it stars Chloe Grace Moretz and Isabelle Huppert.
Close enough.
Huppert. But, again, I don't really know how to pronounce the name at all. I'll figure it out. But, anyway, so this movie, I will say, I don't really... Whenever the trailers came out, I actually didn't really think much of it at all. I didn't really think it was that good.
I didn't mind the trailers. It got me interested in watching it, at least.
Yeah, it got me interested in watching it, but in all honesty, I wasn't really expecting much out of it. Just the idea of it. And I'll say this: I'll say the movie's fine. I don't think it's anything fantastic, but it's definitely not like a bad, horrible movie. And I definitely want to start off with some of the good points of this movie. And I will say, the two lead actresses were probably the best parts about this movie. Chloe Grace Moretz and Isabelle. Whatever.
Yeah, I can agree with that. I don't think the acting was overall great. I won't really say that, but it was definitely one of the strongest points for the movie. It did shine bright against all the other bad parts about the movie.
Yeah. And then I do like this movie actually does try to go into kind of their backgrounds, some of the people's backgrounds, and especially Chloe Grace Moretz's character. They kind of go into her background, and it's not like a movie that kind of just tells you all at once. It's a movie that, as the movie goes, it kind of reveals different things about her background, and that I actually like a lot. Even
though a lot of it was kind of cliche, a lot of this movie, I will say it did have a few good sequences where it was kind of suspenseful. And in fact, there's one scene that has to do with the cookie cutter. That's one of the, I didn't think they were gonna go for it, but they actually went for it, and it actually was kind of a fun scene.
Now, where this movie does really fall down is whenever it comes to the screenplay and the writing for this film. The friend of this movie, she had horrible lines all throughout.
Yeah. And she's one of the most cringiest characters I've seen.
Yeah, in a while. It was pretty bad. And I don't want to knock the actress down because she does play in It Follows.
Yeah.
And I love that movie. I loved her in it. I don't really think that her acting had anything to do with how much I hated her character. It was just horrible lines they gave her.
Yeah, I don't know how well you can act the lines when they have you say that you want to dry hump somebody delivering flowers. There's a lot of pacing issues with this. In all honesty, I found most of the movie kind of boring.
Yeah.
And it did pick up towards the end, but for the rest of the movie, it was just kind of drug on.
Yeah. And I really do think that also has to do. I feel like this movie could have benefited from being about 20 minutes shorter, maybe. I feel like there's some, like you said, there's a lot of scenes, not a lot, but there's a few scenes that got drug out really bad. And I feel like they could have done with a lot shorter scenes, a lot shorter parts, and actually be able to fit in all that in a short amount of time. I felt like it would have really benefited from a shorter runtime.
Yeah, and like I said earlier, how it's kind of cliched. For most of the movie, it kind of felt like one of those movies that you'd see on the Lifetime channel.
Yeah.
One of those thrillers to where it's just it's not the greatest thing. It's not necessarily bad.
Yeah.
It's just kind of really, they throw a whole bunch of cliche stuff in it, and it turned out decently, but overall it wasn't the greatest thing in the world.
Yeah. Throughout this movie, there's a weird thing of people who don't really care for what's going on with Grace Moretz's character. And it doesn't make any sense with how people would act in real life. And I'll give an example, because it's in the trailer, too. It has Greta, and she, goes into the restaurant where Chloe Grace Moretz works, And, she walks in there and she sees her, and she goes up to her boss, and she's like, "This woman's been harassing me. She's been stalking me." And he's like, "Yeah, but she reserved a table."
Yeah.
I'm like, what? Why does that matter, at all? As long as she reserves tables, it's okay.
And there's a lot of scenes where characters make dumb decisions, which goes into the cliched thing, because there's scenes where characters when they know they're being followed, they go out the back door to the bar in the middle of a dark alleyway and everything.
Yeah.
It's why do you think that's the best thing to do? That's honestly the worst possible thing you could do in this situation.
And probably my least favorite scene, I don't want to say it, there's a little thing at the end, that the very end, the very last shot, I will say the very last shot, there's one stupid decision that they made, and you'll know it if you see it, just because I've described the very last shot. I just don't understand why they made that decision.
Right.
You know, it was just kind of stupid, and not the entire decision, just a little part at the end of the decision they made. It kind of messes up a lot of stuff, you know. And I will say this. I will say that in this movie, one big thing that they try to do, which it kind of worked a little bit at first, in the fact that Chloe Grace Moretz's character does not come from New York City, right?
Oh, yeah.
So when she lives there, she doesn't really know about how things work in that city, how people are.
Yeah.
You know, and so the friend is kind of this character that kind of just keeps kind of telling her, like, why are you making these decisions?
Yeah,
why are you
the
doing
voice
this?
of reason.
Yeah, the voice of reason. But it gets to a point where not only does her stupid decisions become like way too much, like there becomes a point where it's like, hey, come on, like,
Right,
like,
yeah.
you gotta,
Right.
you gotta stop doing this. But it also gets to the point where some of her stupid decisions don't even have to do with the fact that she doesn't come from New York.
It's kind of unbelievable how the Greta character is like doing all this to Chloe Grace Moretz's character, because Chloe Grace Moretz is obviously bigger and younger and more athletic than Greta is.
Yeah.
So it kind of gets to a point to where it doesn't make sense why she doesn't try to overpower Greta at a lot of scenes, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, guys, overall, this movie, I don't really want to drag it down too much, because I can tell that it did try in some areas, you know. It's just that I felt like it could have done with a shorter runtime, and then I felt like it could have just done with a better script in general, and just better decision making. And overall, I will say this movie is like a harmless little film, so if you wanted to go see it, go ahead and try it out. Maybe you'll like it. I'm going to say that Greta is 60% awesome.
Yeah, I thought this movie was just okay. I can't really say it was too much above that or below it. It honestly did feel like a Lifetime movie, like I said earlier. So if you like those kind of movies, if you like kind of cliche thriller types, it did get better at the end, more enjoyable at the end, but for the rest of the movie it's kind of boring. But it was just an okay movie overall. So I'm going to say that Greta is 55% awesome.
Well, guys, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Also, comment below and let us know what you thought about Greta. Also, if you can, please explain to me how you pronounce Isabelle Huppert's name, if you possibly can.
And don't forget to follow us on social media. We have a Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter, all at 2 Awesome Men.
And as always, thank you so much for watching, and you will see us later.